Today, I've got a very special guest joining me. He's one of the top players in the entire transfer portal this upcoming transfer portal season. He's also been in an all-conference freshman team selection his freshman year at Georgia. And that's Silas Demary Jr. Silas, appreciate taking time to come on today, man.
I appreciate you for having me.
Absolutely. Well, first things first, man. You already made one big decision. Now you're in the midst of making another one. You're currently out there in California prepping for the NBA draft. Can you take us through what this experience has been like so far?
I would say it's been a great experience. Now I can't think of nothing but God just to be in the situation I'm in now. I think finally just getting out here in Cali and just doing this pre-draft work, I'm just grateful, and it's like I feel like I'm elevating my play and who I am as a person. So, like I said, I'm just grateful for where I am now. I'm just enjoying the process.
So for those that don't know, can you walk us through what this process is like? Like, is there a lot of workouts going on for yourself right now? Are you just talking to different NBA scouts or whatnot, just working out, scrimmaging? Like, what does this whole process look like?
Yeah, right now I'm just in the midst of just working out, trying to get ready. I know I plan to work out with some teams and just get that feedback, just to hear what some of these scouts are saying, so I know how to
Sure.
make my decision. But so far, it's just been a lot of workouts, a lot of adjustment to just being in California, coming from the East Coast. So it's been a lot of workouts and a lot of adjustments so far.
All right. So for those that obviously are not familiar with this whole process as well, is that you've been having a kind of chaotic past few months now because you enter the portal and that recruitment process, which we'll get into very shortly, had to be chaotic. You come to a conclusion with UConn, and now it's like you're right back into another decision now, which obviously I'm sure, like you said, it's a blessing as well. It's a good blessing, a good problem to have, but you're still having to make a decision now once again as to whether MBA college route. How do you balance this mentally? What is this whole just this kind of all these decisions you have to be making in such a short time that impact your life? How do you deal with that?
I would say I lean on my family, my agent,
Mhm.
and my mentor. Kind of like he's kind of like a second dad. My high school coach, Michael Wright. I just lean on
Sure.
those people a lot. Just talking to them every day, just getting the feedback from them, and then us just coming together as a group and making a solid decision. Obviously, I'm leading the decision, but they're giving me their
Yeah.
inputs, just getting a different point of view from everybody. So right now, just taking it slow. Trying to lean on them as much as I can because I know this kind of to set up my future. So I don't want to make the wrong decision for myself.
Now, when you evaluate these two decisions, what are you looking for? Like, what are you saying? If you're guaranteed somewhere in the first round, second round pick, is that kind of what you want to go down as NBA all out for yourself right now? Is it really just a 50-50 decision right now, or where do you kind of stand at this point in time?
For me, I'm 50-50, man. I don't have a problem with going back to school because, like I said, I feel like I chose a school that'll help put me in a position to be able to be successful within the coming year. So, and
Hmm.
then obviously going in the draft, obviously that's my dream. So I feel like it's a win-win situation whether I go back to school or whether I stay in the draft. But I
Okay,
say for me for the draft, I want to be a first round pick. So if
gotcha.
it's not there and I can just get the feedback on what they want me to do and I can go to UConn and do what I'm supposed to do, then it's a
Hmm.
win-win for me.
So for yourself, we know I believe the deadline is going to be end of May, early June, whatever it is, when you have to announce if you're going to stay a draft or go back to college. Do you want to make a decision well before that standpoint? We're looking early mid May, or when do you kind of have an idea of when you want to make the decision and get your next steps set for the next year?
I'll probably say towards the middle of May, I'll start knowing because I think by that time I'll have done some workouts and get that
Sure.
feedback. And so I'll be more clear with a decision to make. But like I said, right now I'm just enjoying the process and just being grateful for where I am.
Absolutely, man. Well, I want to get into a couple of things because first of all, I want to talk about just the aspect of your career getting to this point because I know we've known each other for a couple of years now. I'm glad to finally have you on, man. So we look at your high school career though, because at certain points, I think it was your sophomore year, you weren't having the big numbers yet, but you were still developing. You transfer out, and then you start to blow up in your second 2 years or the final 2 years of high school basketball. But if I were to ask that younger Silas a little bit ago, saying, "Hey, in a few years, 3, 4 years from now, you're going to be in the position you're at now, where you're regarded one of the top transfers. And not only that, let's be honest, one of the top players and point guards in the country next season if you return, or you have a chance to go to NBA draft. Did you ever think this was a reality or going to happen for you in your future?
I say for me, like a couple years back, I don't really think I would have thought I would have been here right now. Like
Okay.
I knew I've always worked hard and like played hard,
Sure.
gave a lot of effort. But I never thought I would be like this far in the journey and to be
Okay.
this coveted of a player and to be able to like have the ability to say to test the draft. Like as a kid, it's always been a dream.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I feel like you said, my junior, senior year, and then like my freshman year of college, like I started noticing, I started getting better and better,
Mm.
and I was being around the right people, and they were saying that I have a chance. So I think just younger me, I always knew I was going to be good, but I didn't think I was going to be this good and be at
Okay.
this level so early. So
Now, one of the cool things that you end up going through your recruiting process, the original one, and obviously went to USC, did command, you actually start your career off at Georgia. And right out the gate, Coach Mike White gives you his chance to go start, and you become the starter for pretty much the entirety of your first 2 years at Georgia. Was that shocking? Because I know for some freshmen, it's like, okay, you're going to have to work your way up there. Maybe you're starting the second half of the season, whatever it is. You're starting right out the gate. Did that shock you, or did you kind of expect to be the starter right out the gate?
I would say it was a little bit of both. Like it shocked me, but I also feel like I put the work in. I feel like I earned the spot to be able to just start as a freshman. I feel like over the summer I put in the work. I was in the gym as many times as I could. I was learning the system. I feel like I just put myself in position to become a starter, and I feel like once I became that starter, I just took off running and never looked back.
When I look back at your freshman season, it always seemed like you were very, very comfortable out there, and you continue to develop and you get better and better as you go. And that's not always typical for a lot of freshmen. And obviously, it wasn't like your all conference or whatever your first season, but for a freshman, you seem to be able to be a-okay to kind of setting the tone, being the lead guard. What brought about that in you? Like, what kind of led to you being so confident as a point guard right out the gate in college?
I'd probably say my high school coach, he prepared me really well to be able to
Hmm.
be in there, to go in college. Because as a freshman, it's not like you're going to be like one of the biggest voices. Like you're new to everything. It's
Right.
guys, there's older guys. So I feel like my high school coach, Michael Wright, prepared me to just be able to be a vocal leader, talk when needed to be talked and just to lead. And I feel like the more and more I led during the summer, the guys brought me in more. I felt more comfortable. And, I feel like just everybody, it went hand in hand. Like with him helping me playing well my senior year, going into my freshman year, the coaches, my teammates, I feel like everybody just welcomed me in and it kind of just let me be myself.
I want to ask you a little bit more about Coach Wright because he obviously is a great coach and he did obviously great work with you getting you ready for college. And in today's era of high school and college basketball too, I mean, especially high school, there's so many guys are transferring around. They don't necessarily find the coach is going to invest in them. And obviously you transferred, but still with the same coach all the way through. So you had that connection, you had that bond with him. How big was that for you? And just how important would you say that is for a high school athlete to have consistency with a coach and really help a guy's going to invest in you and develop you so you're ready to go?
I would say that it played a big part. I mean,
Hmm.
I feel like being able to stay with the same coach or it no more than like two coaches for me because I think I've only played for two high school coaches, whether that be the one I played for in Raleigh and then Coach
Yeah.
Mike. So I'll say the consistency, just being with him every day on those road trips, him coming to my AAU games, just picking his brain, me talking to him, just going back and forth, having that conversation and that dialogue. It kind of helped me become a better player because I know that's somebody I can always talk to. I know it's somebody I'm always going to be around, whether I have a question or just want to chop it up about stuff off of the court. I know that consistency always been a big thing, and the way my parents raised me was always being loyal and being consistent with somebody is the way you get comfortable with somebody, and that just happened with me and him, and the conversation just continued to grow.
Let's get into the past 365 days for yourself because this has been kind of a crazy past year for yourself because you go into your sophomore season and you have a breakout year. You had an incredible season at Georgia this year and what was, in my opinion, probably the toughest conference in basketball we've seen in a long time. And so that was every day you're fighting and going against top other players, and this conference is stacked top to bottom. And so you're in this conference, you have a breakout season, you help get Georgia into the tournament. Can you just take us through last season? How special of a year was that for yourself and the team?
I would say it was very special. I think that was the first time we had been to the tournament in about I think 10 years. And
Hmm.
what's crazy is we had a coach on the staff named Charles Mann. He was on the team that went to the tournament
Okay. Yeah.
before
Forgot about
the
that. Yeah.
Lowell. So it was cool. I mean, I think this year was very special for Georgia. I was glad
Hmm.
to be able to represent them. I loved everything about it. I feel like we just brought in the right guys. We got the culture back right. I feel like that's the first time since high school, like I felt like it was just fun every day. Like
Mm.
I obviously went through a couple of losing streaks, but I think during those losing streaks, like we just became more tight knit, more close. Like I just felt like what we created in the summer was showing up during those losing streaks, and I think that's why we were able to get that big win against Florida, which kind of
Yep.
kickstarted us getting back on the right track. And it was just a great year, man. I'm grateful for it. I was grateful to be a part of it, and the coaching staff led us the right way. I don't have nothing but good things to say about this season. So I was just happy. I got to check off a goal of mine, being able to play in March Madness and just to play with those guys and be able to lead those guys. It was just a lot of fun.
When you look at the SEC from last season, you actually got experience. I could see it from TV, and I thought that conference was insane, top to bottom. But you're playing in that. What was the SEC like last season?
And it was a battle every night, man. No matter
Yeah.
who it was, because I think 1 through 16, all the teams were good. It didn't matter. Like
Yep.
you got your Auburns, your Floridas. Then you look at South Carolina. They had a tough year, but they were in every game. Like it was
Exactly.
never a blowout. Really, like LSU was a good team. Like everybody was good, top to bottom.
Hmm. When you look at the matchups, what game would you say was your favorite one from last season?
My favorite one, I'd probably say the Florida game because
Yeah.
like that was a game like I feel like we just put it together. I think we had a good 30, 33, 34 minutes. Like we kind of struggled down the stretch, but we was able to come out with a win. But I think that was the game that kind of kickstarted us getting back right. And I think we
Mhm.
had a lot of fun because we got to storm the court. Like that's a crazy experience. Like
Yeah.
to be in the middle of that and just to be hyped, like be with all the fans and all your students, your classmates. Like that's an unbelievable experience.
Now, I know this was a little bit like a year-old topic here, but I know there was some controversy. Should we have this court storming and all that because of the Kyle Filipowski thing that happened the previous year? I personally am in favor. I think it's fun as long as guys aren't getting hurt and all that.
Yeah.
But do you still enjoy it as a player? Like, do you hope those never go away?
Yeah, I hope that never goes away. I think that just makes the win more intimate. Like
Yeah.
it just feels. It's like I can't even explain the experience it was, but it just feels crazy. Like it's a lot of fun.
Absolutely, man. Well, we got to get into this because I know we got a lot of UConn fans in here, and we want to talk about this recruiting process as well, man. So now that we know a little bit about you, let's head into this process because you enter the portal, and immediately I'm like, all right, well, this is one of the top guys in there, one of the top guards for sure, one of the top players, in my opinion, all around. And the teams that are wanting you pretty much show that too. You talk about Duke is in the mix, Kentucky's in the mix, St. John's, BYU is talking to you. Obviously, UConn's in there as well. But when you enter the portal, did you expect it to be this crazy? Did you expect to have these type of schools wanting you?
I kind of did, but I didn't. It was because it's
Sure.
like I would say the high school recruiting process is very different from the transfer portal process. Like I knew I put myself in position to be reached out by some good teams, but
Mhm.
those first like couple of hours I was like, wow, I was like appreciative of all the hard work I put in because it's like to know that these type of schools want me at this level, it's like it's nothing but a dream. You hearing from coaches that you see on TV as a little kid, like
Yeah.
it was a crazy experience, but I was grateful for it, and I sat back and really appreciated it and looked back at all the hard work I had put in.
You said something interesting. You said it's much different than the high school recruiting process. Why is that?
I would say it's different because the process is shorter, and
Gotcha.
you kind of once you already been through it, you're kind of older, so all the
Makes
glitz and
sense.
glamours of the taking pictures and all that stuff is a little bit different now. You've been around the lay of the land, so you kind of know what you want. You kind of know who you want to talk to and what schools fit your playing style, and you understand that being in college for the 2 years that I've been in.
So, out of all those schools, who did it come down to? Because I know it wasn't like you said in high school, you had the whole countdown, top five, top three, all these things. You didn't really do that. Just, okay, you're coming to UConn. Who was in the finalists, though? Like, was there a top two, top three that you had within your inner circle?
I would say for me, the schools that I was mainly talking to was UConn. Talked to Kentucky a lot. I talked to St. John's as well. Talked in BYU, and I had talked to Duke for a little bit.
Okay. I know there was a lot of rumors going towards Kentucky. A lot of fans were wanting you and hoping you're going to flip over and stay in the SEC. And so, how close were you to possibly going to Kentucky?
I would say it was a hard decision, man. Like I respected everything Kentucky did, played against them. Respect Coach Pope. Like he's a great coach, a great person. I
Sure.
had dinner with him. Everything was good, but I just felt like for me, I kind of wanted to get out of SEC. Been there for 2 years. Wanted to see something
Gotcha.
different. Wanted to play in a different conference. So it was just something for me, just seeing something different.
Okay. Well, you end up going to UConn. You got to take us to the story of how you told Coach Hurley. Like, I think it was right after your visit or during your visit that you end up committing there. So walk us through this whole process. First of all, starting with how you knew that UConn was the right school, and then how you told the coaching staff.
Yeah, I think the coaches had picked me and my dad up.
Mm-hmm.
And Coach Kamani had got out of the car and he was like, "Yo, there goes my PG." Like right there, I was like, "Yo, Coach is like locked in. Like I respect that because that means Coach does his research. Like that means it feels like he wants you. Like not
Yeah.
a need, but they want you." And then I just felt like going through the visit and just being able to talk with Coach Hurley one on one. Just riding around with him, just being with him. It just felt like it was right for me, and it felt like family from the jump, man.
Mm.
And obviously, coming from Georgia, I felt like that too. So
Yeah.
it just everything just felt right for me. I fell in love with the coaching staff, the facilities, the student body, the people there, just being there. It was just a great experience.
So when the time comes and you said, okay, UConn's the school that I want, when did you realize that? And then how did you tell the coaching staff?
I probably realized it when I was able to just sit down and pick Coach Hurley's brain. I feel
Okay.
like we kind of resemble each other a lot. Like he's a competitor just like myself.
Hmm.
And then just looking at the style of play, I felt like they had Stephon Castle, Tristan Newton. Like I kind of resemble those guys a lot too. So just being able to look at that mold and see what he's done with those two guys. He helped those two guys get to the league. So it's like, why not be the third guy he helps? Like
Yep.
everything, big guards, lead guards, defending, does a little bit of everything. Like just being his PG, that's what he told me they needed. He felt like if he had me this year, that we would be in the Final Four in San Antonio. But that's why
Mm.
I felt like I would get there. I feel like he can help us get there. And then the guys we're bringing in, like Malachi,
Yep.
we brought back Jaden Ross, Terrence Reed. He's still there, solo ball. Like being
Hmm.
able to complement those guys, I feel like would be a force to be reckoned with.
All right. So, how did you tell Coach Hurley and the coaching staff that you're going to be committing to UConn?
I remember we was we had breakfast in like somewhere in the hotel.
Okay.
So he was like, he said, "Man, I wonder who you gonna miss the most." I was like, "Well, coach, I don't think I'm gonna miss any of you guys because I'm coming here."
So you knew
It
you knew
was,
on the visit then?
yeah, I kind of did. It just felt right for me. I felt like
Gotcha.
it just felt everything just felt right for me. Like style of play, being with the coaching staff, like it's a coach named Mo. Like we had a great relationship. I was able to talk to him a lot.
Hmm.
It just felt right for me.
You talk about Coach Kamani, and this staff is incredible because Coach Hurley, I want to get into him very shortly, but you have two coaches on there that I believe are head coach caliber coaches, and Coach Murray, Coach Kamani, and both of those guys are incredible. And now I don't know exactly why they haven't taken a head coaching job yet, so if it's just waiting for the right opportunity or whatever it might be. But for the good news for you is that you basically have three head coaches basically on that coaching staff that you get to learn from and just grow from. And you mentioned Coach Kamani, so walk us through your relationship with him. Like, how close are you guys already? I know it's still going to have a lot more bonding to do over the next year, but what is he just like as a person?
And he's a great person, man. I just got off from him last night. Just checking in. So he's gonna
Hmm.
come out here to see me. So I think the relationship I've built with him just in the few months and few weeks that I've known him
Sure.
has just been off the charts. And it's like he's consistent. It's not like I'll talk to him, then I won't hear from him. Like always talking to him. He's always asking how I'm doing, asking about my family. And it's like
Hmm.
for me, I'm big on relationships. Like if I feel like you care about my family and myself, and it's not just about basketball all the time, like we can't do anything but grow.
Gotcha. I love that, man. So Coach Hurley then's another guy I got to get into, and he's one of the most polarizing coaches in the country. My stance always on that has been I love that. If it works and he's winning, I'm all good with that. I mean, you do what you got to do, and he is, in my opinion, the best coach in college basketball. And so that's the guy that you're going to go play for next season. But on a personal level, not a lot of people get to see that. What is he like? What's like just talking to him at the hotel on the visit? What's he like as a person?
I think he's kind of misunderstood at times. Like I think a lot of
Agree.
people misjudge him just because of how they see him on the internet. But I think he's a
Mhm.
laid back guy. He's a cool dude. Like you could talk to him about anything. And I think for me, just being able to, I think me and my parents, we just sat in his office and was just storytelling for about 30 to 45 minutes on my visit. And I was like, if I can feel this comfortable to be able to talk with you about stuff off the court, and it's not
Yeah.
just about basketball, like why not? Why not come here? Because I know the basketball part is going to take care of itself. If I can be comfortable enough with you off the court and know I can walk in your office, and if something is on my mind, I can just vent to you. That's good for me.
Hmm. Now you do know obviously you're going to get the other side of Coach Hurley too when you get out there and start practicing with him. So you got to get us to that because I'm sure you've seen the videos. You know he's quite animated to say the least on the court, towards the refs, towards his team at practices. How excited are you to be coached by a guy of that intensity?
I'm really excited because I mean I've always grown up playing for coaches like that. So
Hmm.
for me, I don't feel like that'll be a problem. It'll just
Okay.
increase me as a player, add value to who I am, and I know that if he's coaching me hard, it's gonna make the games easier. Like he said that in a couple of his videos. He said, We're gonna make practice as hard as I can so we can make the game easy on you." And I feel like for me, just being able to practice hard like that every day and know he's always gonna be on me because I know he's coming from a good place. I know
Yep.
he's wanting to push me to be the best that I can be. So I just feel like that won't do anything but help me grow as a player.
Coach Hurley talked about you and gave a little bit of just a brief intro to you when he was talking about your signing and all that. But when you guys have talked personally, what does he expect for you? What's his plan for you if you do end up coming to UConn, not go to the draft?
His plan was just come in here, be a leader, help lead guys, help come in there, be an older guy, help lead guys to get back to the tournament and then to win it. Like we want to
Mm,
win it next year. We just don't want to be there. Like we want to be able to go in there and win convincingly, and everybody get what they're supposed to get, and we're supposed to do what we're supposed to do. Obviously, it's going to be. It starts in the summer. It starts when we get there. So as soon
yep.
as we get there, how quick can we start to gel and that chemistry and figure that thing out and just start trying to plan to win that thing.
The back half of that quote I was just referring to, he also mentioned something very unique about you. He said, Silas comes from a great family and will fit our championship culture to a T. And I know you brought up your family a couple of times between this interview already. And so I want to just quickly diverge and go talk about that quickly. When you talk about your family, I know you come from a family that's athletes. Your dad played football growing up and he had a career as being a professional pro athlete there. How big has your family been, not just in the aspects in terms of sports and all that, but obviously just all around the whole picture, your faith, life, growing up as a person and on the court, obviously as an athlete? How big have they been in your life?
Man, they played a big part, man. I think that's kind of where I am right now is mainly because of them. Like my sisters and my mom and my dad. Like I lean on them a lot. Like
Yeah.
obviously my parents have been to every college game, every high. I think my parents have missed maybe one game in the past
Wow.
5 years. So like just them always being there. Like if I can peek up into the stands and see them, I
Hmm.
know that's who I'm playing for, and that makes me want to go even harder. So my support system, and not even just them. Like I have cousins, friends, family
Hmm.
that travel to come and watch me play. Like just seeing all the support I had is like it's nothing but a blessing, and I'm thankful for it.
So you said they've only missed about 1 or 2 games in the past 4 or 5 years. So do they just travel out? Are they going to move out closer to you then so they can attend the home games? Or how do they manage that? Because that's got to be kind of crazy to attend all those games.
I mean, I think my parents like traveling. They enjoy it.
Okay.
I think my dad's big on driving. Like he loves to
All
drive.
right.
So my dad loves to drive, and my mom will be there right with him. So they'll be there.
When you talk about your mom and dad specifically, what would you say is the biggest lesson they both taught you in your life?
I would say the biggest lesson they've taught me is to kind of just run my own race, and
Hmm.
I think as of recently, we've been more so talking about just being where your feet are.
Hmm.
But I think for me, if I can enjoy where I am right now, like I get more out of it there than looking ahead or looking what's behind me. Like being where my feet are, enjoying where I am, and being appreciative for where I am has probably been the biggest thing they've taught me, man. And then another thing I would say, just never compare myself. Like I remember when I was younger, I would always get into the comparison battles in my head and be like, man, so and so is getting this, so and so is getting that. I feel like I'm getting
Hmm.
shorthanded, but they just told me just to keep working, and at some point it'll pay off.
Now we're going to wrap up more about faith here in a little bit, but obviously, biblically speaking, that is a huge thing. Comparison is not always a good thing to be doing. That's against the word of God. And so, for your aspect, realizing that's huge because I think that's so easy, especially as athletes. You look at going through high school, the ranking component. This guy's ranked
Hmm.
higher than me. This guy's ranked lower than me. This, that, and the third. And this guy maybe just had a better game than me. Comparison is a very, very easy trap to get stuck into. How have you learned to run your own race and say, you know what? Maybe at this point in time, this guy was better than me, but that doesn't matter. I'm working my own race, and maybe one day we'll see what God takes me. How has that realization and that truth kind of come to fruition in your life now?
It's definitely came to more realization as I would say this past year. Being able to play some of those big time games, like going to the Bahamas, being able to play against a Marquette and a St. John's, and you have really good games. It's like I think that for me that gave me more and more confidence because it's like to be able to do this against those big time teams, and
Hmm.
it's like your confidence should be up because that means you're a really good player and you're putting in the work to be put in those situations to showcase your talent and showcase your skill.
Yeah. Let's go back into UConn for a little bit more. And one of those things is okay, let's hypothetically say you are going to UConn 100%, you're not going to the draft. This team is going to look pretty darn good next year. Like you said, one of the biggest things for me when I look at building a roster is retention. Can you get some guys back from the previous roster? We know there can be changes, but you guys got some big time guys. I think Terrace had a chance to be one of the best big men in the entire Big
Hmm.
East next year. Solo Ball is a guy that I think is a legit NBA prospect. You have
Yep.
those type of guys, and then you obviously add in Ross, you add in Stewart coming back, you add in then Mullins, you add in Malachi Smith, yourself. And then we have the big, obviously, question mark. What's Alex Caravan going to do? If he's back, we know he's an all-conference player.
Hmm.
But when you talk about this roster, this is a team that, I don't want to get too ahead of myself, but has a chance to be a legitimate team that goes and wins a national championship again. How special do you feel like this team can be next year if you are there?
I think we have a chance, man. I think if we can get on campus and get around each other and be able to build those bonds, because I think the biggest thing in being able to be a championship caliber team is being able to hang out with each other off the court. I think
Mhm.
that's why at Georgia we were so close knit and everything, like because we hung out off the court, like we went to dinner, we went
Gotcha.
bowling together. I think if we can get to that point where we hanging out with each other off the court, I think that makes everything on the court easier. So I
Hmm.
think we take care of that aspect off the court, which I'm pretty sure we will once we get there, start to learn everybody, and once
Yeah.
everybody gets to know each other, that'll all take care of itself. But I think being able to have that chemistry off the court makes everything on the court easier because that's your brother is going to always have your back no matter what.
From your standpoint, have you gotten to know too many of these guys? I'm sure you guys have probably followed each other, DM'd each other a couple of times and whatnot, but is the relationship building really going to start once you make your final decision? You can get on campus. Has it already started right now, or where do you stand in terms of your relationship with some of those guys?
Yeah, for me, I've already started. I talked to Malachi
Okay.
a good bit. I've talked to Braylon Mullins. I've talked to him. I've talked to
Okay.
Big Eric. I've talked to him. Like I got in a group chat with Jaden Ross, Jay Stu, Terrence, and or Terrace and all of them. As soon as I
Yeah.
committed, like, I made a group chat and talked to them, told them I was coming there. So I've
Okay.
definitely already started and just talking to those guys. Keeping up with them every now and then when I can. So I've already started it.
I said the big question mark is Alex Caravan. Obviously, like I said, he's one of the most accomplished players when we talk about UConn being a back-to-back champion, a guy who was a part of last year's team as well now, and he could return to this team next year. He hasn't made his decision yet. How big of an addition would he be to this team if he decides to return to UConn?
I think he'll be a very big addition. Obviously, like you said, he could be an all Big East guy. I feel
Yep,
like he's really good. I've watched the game. He
agree.
has size. He can shoot it. Does a little bit of everything. Can play the 3 or the 4. I feel like he just gives us more versatility. Obviously, you
Hmm.
want to let him make his own decision, but if he comes back, I think that'll give us another edge, another guy that can take over a game. Because I feel like we have a whole lot of guys that can just it can be their night. It can be anybody's night. So I feel like he coming back, that just gives us another guy that they'll have to scout, that teams will have to worry about, and it'll get our chance to win a national championship even more.
So when you talk about building this roster overall, I think you talk about UConn, and if we're going to call last year a down year, obviously you could call that down year if you want to say, but at the same time, this is a team that gave the national champions the toughest test they had all tournament until the championship game. So I think that UConn's team last year was still pretty good, but when you talk about getting this team back to their standards of potentially winning a national championship, what will it take for that to happen?
I think with us, we got to be locked in from the jump. I think we know what the end goal is, so we got to but obviously we know what the end goal is, but we got to take it one day at a time. I think if
Hmm.
we get to looking ahead, looking past games, looking past teams, that's how you get clipped. Like especially in the non-conference season, like I think those are the biggest points because those are bye games where like anytime a mid-major team come in there and beat you. So I think as long as we be where our feet are, don't look past teams, and enjoy the moment and and always work, I think we'll be fine.
When you talk about your leadership, just talking to you now for a little bit and already knowing you beforehand, I could tell that you're a great leader. You're a guy that's already wanted to talk guys. You know how to lead really well. How do you do that? What is it about you that kind of puts you in a position where you just feel comfortable leading a team?
I think my mom and dad helped me with that a lot. Like
Okay.
it's hard being a leader because obviously everybody's not going to like you, and it's an uncomfortable position to be in.
Yeah.
But I think once guys see you put the work in every day, and people see that you're not just talking and you lead by action, I think that makes it easier for me. And then I would just say, just being a confident person, confident in yourself. I think if you're not confident in yourself, you can't come out of yourself and want to lead others if you don't believe what you're saying. So I
Mhm.
think the more and more I've played and the more and more I've learned, I feel like I'm confident in who I am and confident in my game and confident that I'm not just telling you something just to be telling you something. It's something I've learned, something I've talked about, and it's what the coaches want to see as well.
You said a quote, and I'm not sure exactly where it was. I saw it on an Instagram graphic, but it said, "I want to be the next great point guard at UConn." And that's a big statement because obviously, let's look at the history. Kemba Walker's from there. Shabazz Napier's from there. Most recently, I've got like Stefan Castle, Tristan Newton. The list goes on. Like this is, you could even say point guard university. And when you're looking at the point guard position at this school, you're going to be the next guy to fill those shoes. Will it take for yourself to become the next great point guard at UConn?
I would say for me, it would just be to lead the team, be confident in myself, whether I'm having a good game or a bad game, be the same guy every day,
Mhm.
and just lead, man. Like I said, I feel like I'm a leader, and if I
Yeah.
can lead, like I feel like this year I took a big step in my leadership role, and we had a good year for Georgia. Like we went to the tournament, we
Yep.
did what we were supposed to do. Like obviously we didn't win there, but it was a jump to from last year to this year for Georgia, and I feel like if I can go there and do the same thing, I don't see why we couldn't win it all.
For UConn fans wondering what you're going to bring to the school next year, how would you answer that?
I would say I'm a guy that's kind of like a Swiss Army knife. Like I'm gonna defend,
Yeah.
pick up the best player. I'm gonna facilitate the ball. I'm gonna score when need to be. Like I feel like I can do a little bit of everything, and I'm a guy just all about winning. Like if I got to dive on the floor 4 or 5 times out of the game, I'm gonna dive on the floor every time, whether it's a
Hmm.
loose ball or not. Like I'm gonna do whatever it takes to win. And like I said, I just want to win, man. I feel like my competitive brand has always just made me to win. Like I won high school, now I want to win at this level now too.
Each one of those point guards I listed a little bit ago have differences between themselves, but one guy that you do remind me a lot of is Tristan Newton. And I think that's also a guy I think Dan Hurley or somebody mentioned about you as well. When you talk about that, has that been something that Coach Hurley has mentioned to you and said, hey, you have some shades of him. You could potentially kind of replace that guy and be at that role at UConn?
Yeah, we definitely had conversation about that. I think when we went through our film session, like it was a lot of film of Tristan and just looking at. He was like, we kind of have the same abilities, same comparison. So I was like,
Hmm.
we watched a lot of film of Tristan and was like, why couldn't this be you?
Gotcha. Now, another huge thing about this is that when you talk about Georgia, we all know, just being honest, I said, unless you're pretty much like Kentucky, most SEC schools are football dominant schools, and that is a powerhouse there. You come to a school which is a basketball school, and I think, in my opinion, it's the university for basketball because women's and men's have dominated the sport for the past 20, 30 years, whatever it's been now. Being in a school and an atmosphere where basketball is the most beloved sport, how excited does that make you?
Man, I'm really excited, man. Just seeing the fans and how they interact with my
Yeah.
dad on Twitter, like they love my dad already, and my dad's gonna come to the game hype every game. So
All right.
just looking at the fans and talking to some of the fans that have DM me and just seeing how excited they are for me to be there, it just makes me feel even more welcomed and wants me to put in even more work just so I can make all those fans happy and get back to the winning ways.
So I know it hasn't officially been decided yet for yourself, but let's say you are stepping foot at UConn, you're going to play a game there, and you get to play in front of that home crowd. What do you think is going to go through your mind?
Oh, I can't even imagine. Like I've been like the past couple weeks, I would say the past 2 weeks I've really been like, man, I can't imagine what that first game is gonna be like.
Hmm.
Like I can't wait. I can't even put it into words. That's how excited I am just to be able to put that jersey on and be able to represent UConn.
When you look at the next year's season, I know that obviously non-conference hasn't always been decided yet, but let's look at conference specifically. Is there a game that you're most excited for, a team that you're most excited to go play, whether it be a home, away game? What are you most excited for? Or a game maybe you have circled in your calendar?
I wouldn't say a game, but I'll probably say being able to play at Madison Square Garden. Like
Yeah.
I feel like not a lot of people get the chance or shot to be able to play there. So
Hmm.
I feel like that's just a great experience. And whoever we play there, whenever we play there, like I'll be excited for it and just can't wait. That's my biggest thing is Madison Square Garden because not a lot of people, like I said, not a lot of people get that chance to even step foot on that court to be able to
Yeah.
play there, and especially the Big East tournament is there. So
Hmm.
being able to be under those bright lights and wanting to be able to perform at a high level, I feel like that's what I'm looking forward to.
From a lifestyle standpoint, do you think there's going to be too many differences between going from Georgia all the way up to UConn and playing out there?
I just think the weather will be a bit
Yeah.
different for me. It's a little cold up there, but like I said, man, I feel like weather didn't make a decision into what it was.
Yeah,
So
true.
obviously, I'm gonna be out there with my big coat on and some Tims, but I'll be fine.
Absolutely, man. Well, I got a few things I want to get into before I wrap this interview up. And one of which is I want to talk about your faith, man, because I love seeing that about you. And there's obviously some people that just will be Christians, but they don't want to be outspoken about it. That's not your case. You're constantly putting stuff on your story. You're constantly tweeting about stuff. And I love seeing that, man. It's awesome to see that. So, first of all, congratulations and good job at doing that. But I also want to ask why? Why is that something that you've been so led to do to say, you know what? This isn't something I'm going to keep quiet and kind of a closet faith. I want to be outspoken about it. Why have you kind of been decided to take that route?
Because I feel like God has just he's our creator. Like he knows what our life is gonna be like. He's written our story already, and I'm like,
Hmm.
why not? I would say for me, what really got me closer was like late to last year, earlier this year. Like I was going through some things off the court. Like I was struggling mentally. Like I couldn't figure things out, and I finally took that step of just starting to learn about who God was, leaning on Him. And I feel like when I started getting closer to God, like my basketball career started turning, things started going the right way. So now for me, I'm always just like, that's nothing but God. And I feel like that was Him showing me how powerful He is. And for me, it's like, why would I shorten myself and not want to let other people know about my testimony and about my blessings? It's like, why not want to share that? Obviously, I don't want to force my religion on anybody, but I feel
Yeah.
like I'm comfortable enough in my skin to talk about God and be comfortable with who He is and how He's helped me in my life.
So what exactly was the turning point then? I know you kind of talked about obviously the ups and downs or whatever, but was there a certain time frame, like a certain day, a week or something that you remember you said, okay, kind of clicked for you and said, you know what? I want to take this next step of faith in my walk with Jesus now?
I probably say it was like I want to say after Christmas going into the new year. For me, I was
Okay.
like, let me get back to building my relationship with God, reading my Bible every day, talking to God throughout the day, just
Hmm.
telling Him I'm thankful, telling Him thank you throughout the day, just So I feel like I'm closer and connected to him. And I feel like once I started doing that more and more, blessings just started to come. Things just started to happen for myself. And I remember one day just, I want to say it was when I really started to realize it, it was before the South Carolina game. I think I
Mm,
had just played a really good game at Texas. And we was on a road trip to South Carolina. I remember just sitting in the hotel like, because I think I had got National Player of the Week or something like that. And
okay.
I was like, man, this is nothing but God putting things into work. This
Mm.
is all His creation, all His plan. And I'm like, I'm just grateful for it. And just want to continue to spread the love that God does. And I just remember sitting in my hotel room, just like, man, this is nothing but God. This is just blessings He wants me to have. So I'm gonna
Hmm.
continue to spread my testimony the best that I can, and just keep following God.
What would you say is the biggest moment that you've seen God show up in your life? Would that be a tough time you're going through, a good time that we could just praise Him? Like, what would you say is the biggest moment you've seen Him show up in your life?
I probably say the biggest moment was probably when I started going through this recruitment process of when I
Mm,
entered the portal. Like obviously I've seen the things He did leading up to that, but like this is a big decision when you go into the portal. Like some
mm,
guys make the right decision, some guys make the wrong decision. So I feel like for me, I was just constantly asking them to show me the show me the right way, show me what's right, show me what I should stay away from, show me what schools like. I feel like that was my biggest thing because I think the confirmation for me after I committed to UConn was I was on my flight back home. Ironically, I was on the plane with the UConn Husky mascot. I was like, in my head, I'm like, man, I looked at my mom. I'm like, that's confirmation. Like, that's nothing but God right there telling me I'm making the right decision.
Well, I gotta follow up on that on what you just said right there. So obviously, I'm assuming it wasn't actually him or her in the mascot suit, was it, or was it just obviously
Nah,
the person?
it was a dog, the actual
Oh,
dog.
oh,
Like I
for
have
real?
a yes, it was the actual dog. Like it was a lady with and they were on the way to the Final Four
Oh, for real?
because the women's was about to play. She said, "Yeah, we're heading out to go there," and I was like, "Man, how ironic! I'm on the plane with them. That's crazy."
That's wild, man. Well, I got a couple things I want to wrap up with. My final things for you, man. One of that is we got to get to the overall college basketball landscape right now. We know how much NIL is talked about. We know how much all this stuff's going on. When you talk about that, how much of an impact was an NIL when you talk about your recruiting process?
Oh, for me, NIL wasn't really a big thing. For me, it was
Okay.
about playing style, being able to help me get to the next level. Because at the end of the day, you can't get NIL but for so long. You get 4 years. So after
Yeah.
that, it's like if I can go to a school that can help me put me in position to go to the NBA and get generational wealth. Because I feel like for me, if I can be able to help communities, like I know when I get back home and when I make it to the league, like I want to fix some places back home. Like
Mm,
it's a place, Raleigh Boys and Girls Club. My guy,
okay.
Rashard Herndon, he was my AAU coach, 16s. And I used to work out there all the time. So if I can go back there and get the gym in better shape and just
Mm,
be around my community, that's the biggest thing for me. I just love seeing people smile. Like I remember NIL helped me help some kids get some gifts for Christmas. Like I just like
mm.
to put smiles on other people's faces and to be able to help my community. It doesn't do anything but put a smile on my face and makes me feel better about myself.
I gotta admit, that's probably the best answer I've ever heard to that question. So congratulations on that component, man. But to follow up on that real quickly, that is a huge thing because I know that so many guys, NIL is still a lot of money overall for a lot of people, and that could easily be a tempting thing to go down and say, "Hey, I get a lot of money, but it could impact your career. Maybe for the good for some guys, but obviously not always the case for a lot of people. But for your stuff, you seem to have the mindset and say, you know what, NBA is the end goal at the end of the day. I want to make sure I reach that point, as opposed to just getting the cashing out in college. How did you get that realization? 'Cause that's obviously very, very wise and that's smart on your part. But how did you get that wisdom to be able to make that proper decision?
My mom and dad, like I said,
Okay.
I feel like they'll never steer me the wrong way. They're never they're never swayed by money. Like money is not a problem. Like my parents worked hard enough to be able to take care of my sisters and myself. So money
Mm.
has never been a problem. Like we always gonna work for what we feel like we earn and never make a decision because of X amount of dollars or how much money this person can give me. It's always about what's the best fit and the best situation for myself.
Absolutely, man. Well, I also want to ask you in terms of your faith part again, is that Coach Hurley, I know, is also a believer. So can you guys talk about that? Have you guys had a discussion about that yet?
Yeah, I remember we were about to head off to dinner and we were
Okay.
just reciting our verses back and forth. I know
Okay.
mine is Matthew 6:34. It's So do not worry about tomorrow, for tomorrow will
Yep.
worry by itself. Each day has enough trouble of its own. I got
Mhm.
that from my coach at Georgia, Coach Goins. Like I used to talk to him every day about faith. He helped me get back into my faith too as well. So, just being able to have that conversation with him on my visit, knowing that he's a God fearing man was another confirmation for me. It just felt right.
Mhm. How much comfortable does that make you knowing that, you know what, on a personal level, like let's just put basketball aside right now. On a personal level, he's going to help me with what's most important, which is knowing Jesus. How big is that for you?
Oh, that's big for me because I feel like growing up as a kid, you always going to church. Now, as a kid, you don't really understand, but I feel like at the age I'm getting, I start to understand more and more. And
Mhm.
I think even Terrace goes to Bible study
Yep.
there, so I'm gonna get locked in with him with that stuff.
Love
Like
it.
just being around those guys that are God fearing, it just makes me feel like I'm comfortable where I need to be.
Absolutely. I love that. Well, I got one final question for you, Silas, and that's what I wrap up every single interview with. And that's talking about your legacy. When you're done at UConn, and then even the greater picture when you're done playing basketball, what is it that you want to be remembered for, whether that be on or off the court? What do you want people to remember when they think of your name?
I want to be known as a winner. A guy that's always going off the court, being able to put a smile on people's faces, always speaking to everybody. Always a joyful person to be around. I would say those are the two biggest things to me because accolades and all that stuff don't matter to me. If I can win and put a smile on people's faces, that's what makes me happy. And if I know people are saying that about me, I know I did the right thing. I know I did it the right way.
Absolutely, man. Well, Silas, I can't wait to see what God's got in store for you. Best of luck with the decision, whether that be going to the NBA draft or going to college, man. I can't wait to see what God's got in store for you, man. Of
Yes, sir. I appreciate you.
course, you're always welcome on, man. God bless, brother.
God bless.
All right, talk to you later, man.
Yes, sir.